So today we are going to set up a web app in the cloud. Kicking off the DevOps CI/CD series with this fundamental project. Just a 30-second summary. In this 7-project series, we're going to create a CI/CD pipeline to build and deploy a simple web application using AWS code services. Here's what you'll build at the end. We just enlarge this. Everybody see that? This is pretty cool.
Nice.
Pretty cool. Okay. What's CI/CD? Why do we do this project? Engineers are often working in big teams and collaborating on complex software projects. Managing the many changes in a project can get messy without the right processes in place. CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment delivery. Pipeline is a key tool to automate the steps from development, i.e., created by developers, to deploy, i.e., published to users, which helps software get built and released even faster. In this project series, you're going to learn the basics of building a web app using AWS and another tool called VS Code. This will lay the foundation for your DevOps work for the rest of this series. Okay, so we're going to get ready to launch the EC2 instance. Use VS Code to set up a remote SSH connection to your EC2 instance. Install Maven in Java and generate a basic web app.
Nice. Oh, and can you zoom in a little bit by any chance?
Oh, yes.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. I think like the text is looking a little bit small.
Okay.
Sick.
So we're going to go with the high touch. Okay. So before we get started, it's important to know what we're trying to do today. What are we here to do? Okay. So I guess in my own words, today, in today's project, we are going to deploy a web app using AWS services. We will also use CI/CD, use the CI/CD pipeline hey, what am I trying to say? This is not that easy.
You got this.
So we're also going to use the CI/CD pipeline to help build the application faster. Okay, we're gonna stick with that. Done. Um, okay. So step one, we're gonna set up an AIM user. Before we dive in, log into the AWS account with your AIM user. Um, I forgot I put that on. Give me 1 second. So for those who don't know, the MFA code is just an extra authentication that I set on my AIM user.
Cool.
And it sometimes is annoying. Okay.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I explain what does it actually mean by AM user? Should we open our account as a AM user account or uh, any kind of uh, path for creating an AM user with our root account?
Well, it's always recommended to use your AIM user. Um, the only thing that you would use the root user for is mostly for for like payment and creating like a budget or stuff like that. But everything else is recommended for you to create a AIM user with for different types of permissions.
Okay, because at the first I created my account as a root account. Is it possible to switch to the AM user, or should I create my account from from the beginning? Yeah.
Um, Once you log into your, if you log into your root account, you could just create a AIM user by going to, well, if you don't have it already pinned, you want to type in IAM. And then go to users, and then create a user, and then okay, let's just go through the whole process. Okay,
Mm.
so let's name this Mitchell NextWork IM user. Okay, go to next. Um, and then what I did, how my AIM user is set up is you go to attach policies directly, and you want to give them administrator access. Hit next, and then you create the user, and then for this user,
Nice. Yeah, you can see that there's a security credentials tab. And yeah, that's a very, very helpful place for you to now have a unique link for logging in.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for explanation.
So I believe once you use this link, it'll prompt you to make a password, I believe. Am I right?
Yeah, so when you currently there's no console password enabled, so you will just have to enable console access. So you can go enable console access next to in the console sign-in area. And then yeah, here you go. You can figure out, oh, do you want to auto-generate a password? Do you want to set your own password? And there's even that handy checkbox at the bottom that says user must create new password at next sign-in. If Mitchell ticks that, that means once you do your very first login as your IAM user, you have to set up a new password. Now, we don't really need to do that checkbox for ourselves because we're doing this IAM user for ourselves, but it's also very helpful. Let's say I create an IAM user for someone else. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to create an IAM user for Radin to use my account. That's when you usually like check that box. So you can set up your own password after you log in for the first time. But yeah, great demo, Mitchell. I appreciate that's a bit of a pivot. So Radin, if you have any other questions
Thank you.
about the IAM user, I can also help you out in the chat.
Yes. Okay. So that's all about setting up. Oh, I could have probably just went through that because that's how, yeah, well, there you go. um, launch the EC2 instance. Before we get into the juicy work of building your web app, we need to set up a home for your web app's files. Since we want your web app to be entirely created and run on the cloud, we'll use a virtual server, EC2 instance, to house our development work. Let's get an EC2 instance up and running. So, in this step, we're going to launch a new EC2 instance, set up a key pair for secure access, set up network settings for your instance, and then this is what it's going to look like. Everybody can see this? Cool.
Are you working? What the hell happened?
Yeah. In your own words, start the step by explaining what you're about to do and why. Okay, so in this step, we are going to set up an EC2 instance so that we can we're going to set up an EC2 instance so that we could basically put our files on, put our project files on. Yes. Okay. So after we logged into the AWS Management Console, we're going to head to EC2, which you can also type in the search bar. Okay. What is EC2? A legendary AWS service. Amazon EC2 is a service that lets you rent and use virtual computers in the cloud. They're like your personal computers, but they exist on the internet instead of being physically in front of you. You can create, customize, and use these computers for all different reasons, from running applications to hosting websites. Here's what the three words mean. Elastic equals flexible. This service can easily adapt and change in size and power to fit your needs. Computing power. EC2 provides virtual computers that can do various tasks, just like your personal computer. And cloud, which is available over the internet.
Nice. And
Okay.
just out of curiosity, have you used EC2 instances before?
I have.
Nice.
Oh,
What do you think
thank
about the
you.
definition? Do you agree with it? Is it something that you think is like how you would explain EC2 as well?
Yes.
I,
I mean, before knowing anything about AWS, honestly, EC2 did not sound like anything to do with like server related. I thought it was more compute, but after learning through the NextWork community, and doing my own research, it's pretty apparent that like it does encompass
Mm,
the definition behind of it being a virtual server, and the sense where you could place anything on it as long as it basically doesn't go over the amount of resources that you give it. Then
cool.
you got a problem. So, and then was there a part two of your question?
No, I think that was perfect. Thanks, Mitchell.
You're welcome. Oh, did anybody else have any questions about that? Okay.
Ridin might. If you do, you can add them to the chat, or would you like to say it now, Ridin?
well, actually, regarding your question, I worked a bit with kind of virtual machines. For example, like virtual box to build a virtual machine, like using Linux in my computer, for example.
Nice.
Uh, it's the first time that I heard from the uh, virtual computers in the cloud. It makes it more easier to manage the resources and memories instead of using our existing hard drive, I think.
Yes. Totally agree with that. And side note, since the server, I believe that you can actually put like an actual database on it and host it yourself, but that's a little bit more advanced. Probably get into that another time. Um,
You open a can of worms with that one. Oof.
okay, so switch your region that's closest to you. For me, it's gonna be California in the West. And in your EC2 console, select instances. Okay. And then in this in the right hand corner, you're gonna see it says launch instances. So it's highlighted. Before I do that, what does an EC2 instance mean? If EC2 is the service that creates virtual computers slash servers, an instance is one of those computers slash servers. Picking an EC2 instance is like customizing a virtual computer that fits what you need for your project. You can customize your EC2 instances, CPU, memory, storage, and networking capacity, and more. Okay, why are we launching the EC2 instance? Start your answer with, I started this project with launching an EC2 instance because, and we're going to say we, because we are all doing it.
Hey, love it.
Started launching an EC2 instance because we want to be able to put our project on it. Because it is a computer / server that is in the cloud. I like that.
Nice.
Okay.
Would you be good to zoom in just a little bit more? That'd be cool. Nice. Yeah. Nice. This is best. This is really good. Thanks.
Okay, so let's set up the EC2 instance. So we're gonna click this Launch Instances button. Okay, it's gonna take us to this screen. We are going to name it Network DevOps and then your name. Okay, and then we are going to make sure that we have Amazon Linux with Amazon Linux image pointing to Amazon Linux 2023 AMI on the free tier. We're just going to make sure that is correct. That is correct. Okay. So leave T2 micro under the instance type. Under key pair login, choose create a new key pair. Okay. Create new key pair. What is the key pair? A key pair in EC2 is like the keys to your virtual computer. Just like you need a key to unlock and start your car, a key pair lets you securely access your EC2 instance. It's made of 2 halves, a public key that AWS keeps and a private key that you download. When you use the private key, it verifies that you're the one allowed to access that specific virtual machine, keeping everything secure just for you. Thanks, AWS. Okay, so we are going to name this network key pair. And then we're going to make sure that it's in .pem format. Okay, and then what you want to do is hit this button, create key pair. And it just downloaded to my computer. This little thing right there. Okay. A new file will automatically download to your local computer. Before we lose track of your PIM file, let's organize it in our computer. Head to your local computer's desktop, create a new folder in your desktop called DevOps. Okay. DevOps. Okay. By the way, it may look different on my machine because I'm on Windows 11. Just want to throw that out there. Okay, so we're gonna move this download over to our DevOps. Okay. Done. Okay. So we're gonna take a screenshot of
Nice.
the download file. Let's see. Okay. And for me, I normally, since I'm on Windows 11, I just normally just save it in my downloads and then upload it here because it's easiest that way. Okay, so start your answer with a key pair is. I know what a key pair is, but sometimes you just need a refresher. So key pair is a key for your virtual, well, for your server / computer. I would say for authentication purposes. Yes. Once I set up my key pair, AWS automatically downloaded. That's how we're going to start a sentence. I'll say we. Got to remember that because we're all in this together, right? Right.
That's
Okay.
right.
So, once we set up our key pair, AWS automatically downloaded our newly created key pair file. Simple. Hit done. Okay, back to our EC2 instance setup. Head to the network section. Network section for allow SSH traffic from, select a dropdown and choose my IP. This makes sure only you can access your EC2 instance, which makes sense because you wouldn't want anyone else to, right? Right. So double check that the IP address is under my IP is correct. So allow SSH from my IP. Okay. I guess we're gonna leave these default. Something in me is wanting to. Okay, we're gonna continue following this. Okay. What is SSH? SSH, for an example, is Secure Shell as a protocol used to make sure only authorized users can access a remote server. When you connect to your EC2 instance later in this project, SSH verifies you have the correct private key that matches the public key on the server. SSH is also a type of network traffic. Once SSH has authorized you, it'll set up a secure connection between you and the EC2 instance. All data transferred, including your commands and responses from the instance, gets encrypted. This encryption makes SSH an ideal method for working with virtual servers. Leave the default values for the remaining sections.
Nice. Oh, and Mitchell, have you used SSH before?
Yes.
What was your first experience like with SSH? I just noticed in the chat about 3 or 4 people are doing, from our poll, that 3 or 4 people are doing this, like this is their very, very first AWS project. So just keen to hear, like, what was your personal experience with using SSH for the first time? Like, was it scary? Does it get easier to use as time goes on?
The first time I used it, it was a little scary because in like a previous project, well, even I took some inspiration from the internet, researched it. It is scary because it's like using the command line in a different way than what people are normally used to using it. It definitely does get easier the more times you use it, and you just feel like a wizard after that. Pretty much.
Mhm.
Has anybody else had an experience like that?
True. Yeah, add it to the chat if you have. Very curious about like what everyone's kind of experience level with SSH is. Thanks, Mitchell.
You're welcome. Okay. What is SSH? Start your answer with SSH is. SSH is well, it's two things. It validates the private key for your key pair, and you can use it for traffic, HTTP traffic, that is. So it is a protocol used for validating private key pairs. It also lets you access your traffic, your HTTP traffic more securely. Okay. I enabled SSH so that I can connect to my EC2 instance in a secure manner. Yes. Let's keep it simple. I wanted to add some more, but I need a little practice. Okay.
Looking good, looking good.
So we're gonna hit done. When you're ready, launch your instance. Okay. So it advised us to leave everything default besides what we had to change with SSH. And then in the summary, I mean, I always just look at it, double check it, make sure it looks correct before you launch this instance. And then once you do,
Nice.
it'll take a couple seconds. Woo! It
Nice.
is a success. Okay. And if you didn't see a success, you can just go to the NextWorks community, post your errors. We'll help you out. Okay. So VS Code. Are you excited yet? I am.
Let's
VS Code is
go.
cool. VS Code is cool. Okay. Now that your EC2 instance is up and running, how are we going to get inside your instance and set up your web app? We'll use VS Code, Visual Studio Code. That's what it's officially called. We call it VS Code because we're cool. To connect with your instance so you can create and edit your web app's code. First things first, let's install VS Code. Okay. So download and install VS Code. I already have VS Code installed, but I can point you in the right direction on how to download it. So on this screen, if you don't have Windows, it might say download for whatever operating system that you do have. And then you hit the download button, let it download. I'll give you guys a second or two to let that download. I guess give me a thumbs up when you have that downloaded, everyone.
Yeah, I had a moment.
Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay. We'll wait just a couple more seconds. I think the nerves are going away, Nat. I think they are
Yeah,
a
that's
little
good.
bit.
That's good. It's a good thing. I feel like it usually takes about 30 minutes or like just going through like the first two steps before you're like, oh, okay, I got this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. While we're waiting actually for everyone to download install VS Code, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to also add the link to that VS Code installation page so that everyone can just access it from the chat as well. And oh, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say that, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I probably should have did that. Yeah, see, that's why I'm getting in the groove. Getting in the
That's why I'm
groove.
here. That's why I'm here. Um, and actually, would you be keen to show us like the architecture diagram again, and maybe even do a summary of like what have we done so far in this architecture diagram, and what are we gonna do in that step now?
And this
Yeah,
step.
yeah. So like, what have we done so
Okay.
far? Yeah.
So far, we have set up our IAM user. And for those who already set it up, you just logged in with your IAM user. We've set up a EC2 instance. Super easy. Easy-ish. Now we're at the step of we're about to launch VS Code, which is where we are going to basically utilize our SSH private key to connect to our EC2 instance. Spoiler alert, sorry. So, what are we doing in this step? In your own words, start the step by explaining what we're about to do and why. Okay, so in this step, we are going to download VS Code to connect to our EC2 instance. Also, we are going to use VS Code for our project files as well. Okay, so we're gonna hit done. Okay, so we did head to the VS Code website. What is VS Code? VS Code is one of the most popular tools for creating and managing coding projects. You'll often hear people call VS Code an IDE, Integrated Development Environment, which means software that helps you write and edit code. It's similar to how Microsoft Word or Google Docs help you write documents. VS Code also comes with extra tools that we'll use to connect to virtual servers like EC2 instances, just like I said. So we went through the step of installing VS Code. How can I decide which settings/chip option I should pick? If you're unsure of which chip/settings option to pick for your device, if you're a Mac, select the Apple icon from the top left hand corner of your computer's menu bars. Select about this Mac and note whether your chip says Apple or Intel. Windows, click Start button and search for system information. Note whether your system type says x64 based or ARM based PC or Linux. Open a terminal and run uname-m. Note whether the output says x86 underscore 64 or ARH64/ARM64. That was a mouthful. Okay. So, okay, we did this. We have we have VS Code downloaded. Okay. So once you open VS Code, you should see this scene, the screen. Boom.
Nice.
I just when you open VS Code, it usually has this welcome screen, by the way. And plus, there's an option, obviously, to show the welcome page on startup. But I believe that is the default. So, it is screenshot time. We're just going to screenshot this. Okay. I'm gonna save it. I mean, I guess we could have dragged it too, but either way is fine. Okay, so what is VS Code? VS Code is an integrated development environment that we use for building projects building managing. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can keep it simple like that. Building and managing projects, coding projects. Yes, we'll keep it simple as that. Because it's so much more. I installed VS Code to connect to my AWS EC2 instance. Also to, I guess, prepare for managing our coding project. Okay. Okay. Sounds great. Okay. If you like, you can customize VS Code's color scheme by selecting the gear icon at the bottom left corner, selecting settings, and then finding color theme setting on the workbench appearance. Okay, so for me, I have my bar on the right hand side. Yours default will be on the left hand side. So we would go to settings. Where is it?
Are you trying to oh, I love that you have your thing on the right hand side, by the way, because same. My file navigator is also on the right hand side for me.
Yeah, it's just like for some reason it's less of a distraction if it's on the right side.
Are you left-handed by any chance?
I'm right-handed, but I read, well, obviously I read left to right, but for some reason it's just better.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but
I think so too.
it just feels better.
No, I'm the same. I'm the same. I always put it on the right hand side, and I've had people literally DM me, and they're like, "What are you doing? Like, why is the thing on the right hand side?" So it's good to have a friend in this.
Okay, so it says that if we have to go to color theme setting under workbench, and then appearance. You could go to workbench appearance, but also you can also type in appearance here. I can type. And then basically you can find what you're looking for in the search bar. But since my settings are different, I'm just going to go ahead with the documentation. You go to appearance, and then we are looking for color theme. Another thing I forgot to mention, VS Code will not typically look the way it looks for me. I have a color theme. I've actually had many color themes. It's all about what you're comfortable with. So feel free to experiment until your heart's content. But we can click this down arrow, and then this is just some of the options that you can have. For me, it was Aurora Soft Dark. I believe that was one of the harder ones to install because I don't think that's like a default. But yeah, nonetheless, that's how you would change it. And then select terminal from the top menu bar. Select new terminal from the drop down. Okay, and
Oh, I guess you don't see terminal for yours.
Yeah. So for me, I'd have to go to the three dots. Go to new terminal. Or side note, if you want to be cool, if you're on Windows 11, you can hit I believe Control and I wish I could show you my hands, but the shortcut key, no, I wouldn't show you, but I mean on Windows it should show it to you. Control Shift and then this symbol right there, and that would open up the new terminal. That's how I do it. I don't do it this manual way, but we're gonna do it this way today. Okay. So what is the terminal? A terminal is where you send instructions to your computer using text instead of clicks. For example, instead of right-clicking on the desktop to create a folder, you can type a simple text command in your terminal instead. It's like sending text messages to your computer's operating system to tell it what to do. Every computer has a terminal. On Windows, it's often called Command Prompt or PowerShell, while Mac OS and Linux systems use terminal. And then, oh, this was, okay, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, navigate to your terminal to the DevOps folder, and you do this by entering this command in the terminal. Paste. Okay, so we are now at our desktop DevOps folder. What does this mean to navigate my terminal? Our end goal in this step is to connect to our EC2 instance by running the .pem file you downloaded when you set up your instance. We need to use this terminal to run that .pim file, and right now the terminal can't find it. We're navigating the terminal so that it can get into the DevOps folder that's storing your pim file, so we can run commands to connect to your instance next. What does this command do? Let's break down the command you just ran. cd, change directory. This command is used to move between folders in your file system. If anybody is not doesn't understand what this symbol is, I believe it's called a tilde. Is that correct, Nat?
Yeah, it is. It is a tilde. Nice work.
Patting myself on the back. Patting myself on the back. Okay, so it represents your home directory, i.e., the starting point of a computer's file system. For most users, this is where you begin when you open the terminal. /desktop/devops, which is all this is just your path. Tells your terminal how to get to your home directory to the DevOps folder. The / are used to separate each directory in the path. Okay, so what is a terminal? So a terminal is a command prompt to issue commands instead of using the GUI. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, my explanations are very simplistic.
They're awesome.
It's not as easy to think of the legendary responses that you do.
Actually, on that note, can you tell us more like how do you think about what a GUI is? What does a GUI mean to you?
What a GUI means to me is what it stands for is graphic user interface. It basically allows you to I want to say, well, in my own words, tell it to do a set of instructions using the mouse instead of the keyboard, which I feel like most people use GUIs, but in this instance, we're using the terminal.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And Jude is giving you a thumbs up as well. I thought I'd follow up with a quick small question. I just got 2 DMs from 2 different students mentioning that they get a little intimidated by terminal commands. Like they find it a little bit scary. This is like direct message to me. So you might not be able to see in the chat, but I thought I'd ask you, Mitchell, like, did you used to find terminal commands like intimidating? How do you think about them now? What do you think has helped you make them feel a little less intimidating?
I would say I have to agree. Like I used to be intimidated by terminal commands until I learned about Linux. I think because I was always a Windows person. I mean, I do love Apple. but I've never actually owned an Apple computer or laptop. I've always used someone else's. One day goals. But I'm talking like my own like super decked out Apple setup one day. So I learned more about what Linux could do because of a situation when I was younger where um I wanted to upgrade my computer, the hardware, and I would say like the tower at that time. And then you have to buy another Windows license. So that's when I really started to get into learning about Linux, since Linux is free. So I went down like this rabbit hole over the years of learning about Linux. But now that being in the NextWork community, it's the first times that I'm using Linux in the cloud or on an actual server. So once I came across projects where I started doing Linux commands, I would just practice them, and then they would just become easy to remember. And yeah, I mean, it takes the fear away.
Nice. Yeah. It's just something that really comes with like with practice, with doing. Do you think
Yeah.
like do you think uh do you think you ran your first few commands like fully knowing what it meant? Or did it help to understand commands by just like running it anyway and then seeing the outcome?
Well, the type of person I am, I just run it and worry about it later. I mean, I try to understand it first before I run it, in terms of like if I can like identify or like try and guess what it does first, just to make sure that it's not something that it's going to be bad for whatever I'm trying to do. But I would just run it first, and then um look later for what each step in the script is trying to do. It's the only way. I
Awesome.
mean, not knowing what each step in the script is can be very detrimental to uh using Linux command period. And Linux is awesome, so it's worth it to research.
Nice. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so what was the first command you ran in your terminal? Start the answer with the first command I ran for this project is, does anybody remember?
Very tough. If you do remember, chuck it in the chat.
That's okay, I'll give you the answer. Well, I believe what we ran was the cd command followed by desktop and DevOps. Yes. First command. So we're going to hit done. Once you're in the DevOps folder, you might want to check if your PEM file is there. Use this command, the ls command. Oh. Ooh, we see it. NextWork key pair.pem. And it is just the extra information, the date, time, mode. A, I believe it's a permission that says that it could be accessed. Sometimes you see other letters or characters there that would sometimes hide your files or make it readable but not able to write to it, and vice versa. But we won't really get into that at the moment. What does this command do? ls lists all the files and directories in your current location. If your .pem file is in the DevOps folder, you should see it listed. Just like what we saw right there. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see. Okay. Change the permissions of your .pem file. In your terminal, run the following command to allow access to your .pem file. Since I am on Windows, I cannot do this step. So,
We'll scroll down a little bit more.
okay, we have a Windows step. Cool. Okay, but before that, what is change mod? This command stands for change mode, and it changes the permissions on your .pem file using 400, makes it readable only by the owner, and restricts access for everyone else. We're changing the permissions of your .pem file so that you have access to it when you connect to your EC2 instance later. Blocking out everyone else keeps your .pem file, i.e. your secret key, secure. Now, we're just gonna take a look at this one more time for the Mac and Linux users. This is what you're gonna, this code you're gonna copy and then put it into your terminal. For me, I don't know who else is a Windows user, but we are gonna copy this code. And yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff going here. But like I said, I am the copy paster and worry about it later. Okay. So, a lot of interesting things happened. It says process the file, NextWork key pair.pem. And it looks like we have an error here that print our no mapping between account names and security IDs was done. And then for the inheritance, process the file successfully. Okay. So, I think maybe I was supposed to use my username, right? Nat, or
Yeah, so this one, I think you should be able, should we try running the commands, and then did it come up with an error for you when you ran this command?
well, yeah.
Mm.
For the
Oh,
username,
interesting.
yeah, no mapping between account names and security IDs.
Oh, right, I see. Yeah, let's give it a go with replacing like username with your username. I'm actually very new to Windows commands as well, so this is new to me too. Let's give it a go.
Okay, so let's copy that. And Okay. So, fingers crossed. What? No mapping between account names and security IDs. Very interesting.
Let's see. We're in live, we're now in live troubleshooting mode. We even have Davidson in the chat also saying, yeah, I think he has to use more, which is what we just ran as well. So he was thinking the same thing. Well, I wonder what it could be. If anyone has experience with running, like changing permission settings on Windows, that would be awesome. I think Praneeth has a guide on doing this with when like using Windows to connect to SSH connect to your EC2 instance. I can try to pull that up as well, and we can give that a go. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm down to do some troubleshooting. I
That
mean,
could be fun.
hmm.
Oh yeah, so this is a post. I'm gonna put in the link in the chat. Praneeth has this community post on how he's done the same thing. I'm gonna send it to you, Mitchell. I'll put in the chat for everyone. Um, maybe it's something we can follow as well for this one.
Hmm?
Okay. Hmm. And yeah, that's how I usually do it that way. This way that we're doing in the documentation, I really did it like that before.
Interesting, yeah. Maybe we'll change the step-by-step guide actually to make it even let it match that. Yeah, if you'd like, you can demonstrate to us like your preferred way of doing it as well, Mitchell. And actually I might just change like the step-by-step guide to match it since it sounds like both you and Praneeth like prefer this method. And it could be more like error-free. What do you think?
I mean, it sounds good.
Cool.
Um, okay, so okay, so forgot that command. This is h-i. I believe. I forgot the location of when you try to connect to it through the through the like the AWS shell EC2 Connect.
Oh, Instance Connect?
Yeah, Instance Connect. Like usually when you go there, it has like the kind of like the script on how to.
Oh, you can try clicking the connect button at the near the top. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Oh, and Praneeth is in the chat, jumping into the chat as well. He mentioned that you can try connecting to EC2 directly from the key pair folder, which is like also another option. Nice. Nice.
yes, I would like to continue connecting.
Cool. I think you cleared it.
Permission denied. Huh.
Maybe it's a
Why is it denied? Is
it could
that
be
not?
because we still needed to change the permission of the file itself. Like when we ran how there was like the error with like no mapping between account names and
Yeah.
security IDs. Hmm.
Oh, that sucks. Um,
Oh, I have a small suggestion. You
okay.
know how we were stuck because we couldn't find like username, like and which value for username we should do?
Yes.
Maybe in the command prompt, I'm gonna send it in the chat. We could try running like echo username and see if that will actually print out the username you're using. And then if it doesn't, we can have a look at other things we could do.
Echo username,
Oh, it
username.
doesn't work for you. Hmm.
Which user? Um, hmm.
Have you tried using the command who am I? Like it just looks like this. I don't know if this is something that works on Windows. Um,
Ah,
cool. I think the Colibri would be your domain, and then Mitchell Moore is the actual user, maybe.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Okay, let's get this back. And then no.
Oh, maybe the percentage thing is something we can remove.
Okay. I think this,
Woo!
yeah, this process file successfully processed 1 files.
Nice
Okay.
work. Nice work.
Thank you, Nat.
Ah,
Uh,
I'm here.
okay, so let's try and run that command, that's SSH command again one more time. Fingers crossed. Boom! Yes.
Yay!
We did it. We did it. It just doesn't look very good for me since I'm a Windows user. Maybe I should have known this already. But it's okay. We're learning, people. We're learning. Okay. So I guess we're gonna take a screenshot of, well, I can't really take a screenshot of this. Well, actually I can, because we did secure the file. We just had to do a little workaround. Yay. Okay, so we're going to upload that image. Start your answer with, I also updated my private keys permission by. For me, that command. Well, I guess we could by copying and pasting the following commands in the terminal. Yeah, that just puts it on the next line. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna hit done. Okay, step 4. Connect to your EC2 instance. Your EC2 instance is working and you're just set up your VS Code. You have all the ingredients you need to set up a connection. Once we're connected, we work inside the EC2 instance to set up the web app. Connect to the EC2 instance. Now, in this step, we're in VS Code right now, and we want to connect to the EC2 instance. Okay, so what we're doing in this step. Okay, so in this step, we are going to connect to our EC2 instance from VS Code so that we could, I guess, potentially we could, so we could put files and folders on our on our server. Okay, let's hit done. Boom. Head back to the AWS console, click on instances from the left-hand navigational panel. Click on the checkbox listed to EC2 instance to view its details. Under the details tab, look for the public IPv4 DNS. Okay, so head back to instances. IPv4 was that was a public one. We're gonna look at this. I guess it says to go into the detail tab. We are in the details tab. Just making sure. What is a public IPv4 DNS? A public IPv4 DNS, which stands for Domain Name System, is the public address for your EC2 server that is the internet uses to find and connect to it. The local computer you're using to do this project will find and connect your EC2 instance through this IPv4 DNS. Okay. What does a server's IPv4 DNS mean? Let's start our answer with a server's IPv4 DNS is it's basically a public address for your server, for your EC2 server. Which lets you connect to it. Okay, boom, let's keep it simple. Now we'll connect to our instance via SSH, head back to VS Code, open your terminal again. This next step has a few important details, so take extra care here. And this is the step that we just went through with what I wrote in the my terminal. So basically we're going to basically copy that and then paste it in your command in your terminal or PowerShell or command prompt, and then replace the path to your PIM file, which is after this .i command, which for me is here. We're in the same directory, so we don't need any slashes of any kind because we're in the same directory, which we called it nextworkkeeper.pim. And then the public IPv4 DNS, which I believe it's always going to use this predicate of EC2 user at, and then your public IPv4 DNS, which you will find right here. That's like the complete path. So once you combine that, you'll come up with that long script. And once you hit enter, as I did, you will see this screen. Has everybody saw that screen?
Cool. Let us know in the chat if you haven't yet, and I'm more than happy to jump in to help as well.
Is it me or no? Everybody, new message.
That one's me.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was like, oh, somebody answered.
All good, all good. We can charge ahead, Mitchell. And I'll keep an
Okay.
eye out on the chat. Appreciate it.
Okay. So, what does this command do? SSH starts a secure shell connection to your EC2 instance. /I specifies the identity file, your .pem file you're using to authenticate a connection. EC2-user at specifies the username and the address of the EC2 instance, which is a public DNS to connect to. Your terminal will ask you if you want to continue connecting to this EC2 instance. This is SSH's way of asking you if you trust the server, which is okay, that's a little bit too much. Okay, so this is when I put that that script in, and it asks if you want to continue connecting. I mean, it's basically just verifying that it's you and you want to continue, basically. Okay, so what does fingerprint in the terminal message mean? In cybersecurity, a fingerprint is a unique code that helps verify that the device or connection you are using is secure and hasn't been tampered with. Since it's your first time connecting to this EC2 instance, SSH doesn't have the server's fingerprint stored on your machine yet, so we won't use it. Fun fact, if we did not change the permission settings of your private key, our EC2 instance would refuse to connect with us. As you saw before, it refused me a couple times. Sad face. But I get over it. This is because the permission settings of the private key will be considered too open, i.e., NextWork keeper.pem file would be vulnerable to attackers getting access to the file, which exposes your EC2 instance. After you enter yes to continue connecting, congrats. You've connected to your EC2 instance via SSH, which everybody has done because we rock, right?
That's right.
All right. So how do you know I've connected to my EC2 instance? Look out for a change in the terminal's name to something that looks like this. Now, if you go back to your terminal and if it looks like this, then congratulations. You can take your screenshot. If you didn't get that, then please let us know in the chat. Let us know something. If I'm doing a great job, if I'm not doing a great job, let me know. Okay, so after that screenshot, since I'm on Windows, I kind of have to do it like this. Okay, so to connect to my EC2 instance, I ran the command. We're gonna copy that, paste it in here. I ran the command SSH-I. Basically this whole thing right there. Okay. Hit done. Boom. Step 5. All right. So install Apache Maven and Amazon Pareto 8. This means your terminal has now entered into your EC2 instance and can use it like a computer that's right in front of you. Our goal today is to set up a web app inside this instance. So let's install 2 tools that's going to help us build Java web apps. Introducing Amazon Maven and Amazon Pareto 8. Okay, in this step, we're going to install Apache Maven on EC2 instance, install Amazon Pareto 8, a version of Java, and then we're going to verify the installations. Okay. So we are, in this step, can't forget, we are going to install Apache Maven, right? Apache Maven and Amazon Pareto. I spelled Pareto, right? No. Missing a T.
I was
Okay.
missing R.
And we are, and also verify installations. Okay. Their installations. Okay. Hit done. What is Apache Maven? Apache Maven is a powerful tool that automates the building of software. What does building mean? Building is a process that turns your code into a final product, like web apps. That is ready for virtual machines like EC2 Instance to host. The key steps include compiling, converting your code written in programming languages like Java into machine code that a computer can run, linking, combining the compiled machine code with additional dependencies, which are external resources your application needs to work, to create a single program for your computer to run all together. Packaging, assembling your file into a package. For Java projects, which is what we're doing, that would be a jar file, which is a jar archive resource that you'll learn more about later on in the DevOps series. This jar file makes your program easily distributed or deployed in other environments. Testing, running automated tests, make sure your software works without bugs or issues. These steps are so important for producing a functioning software application. So helpful to have tools like Apache Maven automate these processes for you. Okay, we're gonna get into some very interesting stuff here. We're gonna install Apache Maven using these commands below. You can copy and paste all these commands in the terminal together. No need to run them line by line. So that is what we are going to do. Copy code. We're gonna go over to our VS Code and we're gonna paste. And I guess hit enter. And then watch the terminal do its magic.
Nice work.
It just finished. Oh, that was so quick. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, it's basically going to look like this. Hopefully you've got that. Okay, what do these commands do? These commands first download a setup file that tells your computer where to find Apache Maven, then install Maven automatically, all in the space of a few lines. Maven will take 30 to 45 seconds to download. Time for a quick question. Apache Maven is... I'm gonna be honest, I know what it is, but can't really put that into a sentence at the moment. But yeah, it's Apache Maven is a tool that automates your project setup, I believe. Right? Well, automates the building of software. Yeah. So Maven is required in this project. I know this one. Maven is required in this project because what we need to do before I start typing, what we need to do is we need to compile the Java, package Java so that we can use it as an app. Right. We use Maven to package and compact. We use it to package, compile, and test. Let's complete our thoughts. We use Maven to package, compile, and test code. We'll put in parentheses Java. Yes. Okay. So we're going to hit done. Boom. So now we're going to install Java 8, or more specifically, Amazon Corretto 8. I'm going to copy this, and we're going to go back to our terminal, and we're going to paste and then press enter, and then watch the magic. Whoa, it is doing a lot.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Complete. Okay, so what is Java? What is Amazon Corretto 8? Java is a popular programming language used to build different types of applications from mobile apps to large enterprise systems. Amazon Corretto 8 is a version of Java that we're using for this project. It's free, reliable, and provided by Amazon. What do these commands do? The first command installs Java Amazon Corretto 8. Then the second command tells your EC2 instance how it can find Java, because it'll need to know Java's location to run Java commands. The last command is a time saver. You're saving Java's location so that you can run Java commands from anywhere in the EC2 instance without needing to type out full location each time. Whoa, what's all this text pooping in the terminal? Text pooping. Gonna have to use that.
Popping,
text
popping, I
is-
swear.
Popping. Totally read that. The text you see after these commands is the terminal keeping you updated about its progress with installing Java. It shows the specific packages it's going to install, downloading status, and even verifying that everything was installed. So, what is Java? Java is programming language. Yeah, I mean, essentially that's what it is. And we can also put and used by, well, actually it's used by all sizes, all company sizes, actually. Okay, we're going to the next question. Java is required in this project because I mean, I don't know, because we want to. We want to use Java, that's why. I mean, you don't necessarily have to use Apache with Java. I mean, Apache can be used with other programming languages, I believe. But I think we want to use Java today, right, Nat? Or is that incorrect?
Yeah. So, a way to think about it is the fact that we have to install Java to run any Java commands. Like, if you don't install Java, it will be very, very hard for you to even build like a Java web app. Technically, you can still write code in Java or use Java commands, but your own computer can't even run it, which will make this process very, very difficult.
Yeah. So I would say Java is required in this project because we're using Maven. Because if we're using Maven, we have to use, well, if we're using Java, we have to use Maven.
Mm. Yeah, I'm actually not too sure if they have to go hand in hand because I know that if you use like Maven as a tool for like pulling in like packages, for your app and also for building your app, can they actually live without each other? It could be possible. But then if you're trying to create a web app, having like Java helps with being able to run those Java commands in your web app. And then having Maven helps with like being able to pull in like packages to generate that web app for you very, very quickly. So you don't have to create everything from scratch.
Java is required in this project because we're using Maven to package it. Let's just say Apache Maven. To compile, package, and test.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. And that's like completely right. Yeah. I see what you mean. And your answer is completely correct.
Yay!
Nice work.
Okay, so we're gonna hit done to verify that Maven is installed correctly. Running the following command next. So we're gonna run this MVN with the -v. That's will give you the Maven version. Also, it tells you that Java's installed with it. But if you wanted to, you can see what Java version is independently by typing in Java version, and it will show you the JDK and the environment and stuff, a little extra information. But with the Maven command, obviously it gives you the Java version, the Java home, the operating system, and such. So this a distinction that you would use. Important, if the command above doesn't return OpenJDK version 1.8, which is Java 8, run the following command that allows you to choose the correct Java version, which is sudo alternatives -- config Java. Okay, so let's move on to step 6, which is to create the application. We've assembled both Maven and Java into our EC2 instance. Now let's cut straight to generating the web app. In this step, we're going to run Maven commands in your terminal to generate a Java web app. In your own words, step by step, what are we going to do in this step? We are going to now create the Java web app in our EC2 instance, that is. Yes. Hit done. Okay, so use Maven to generate a Java web app. To do this, use these commands. I'm going to copy code. And right here, as you can see, we're using Maven to set this this generator up so it can spin up our preferred Java application. Then we're going to hit enter. And then it's going to go crazy like this. But don't fear. It's doing all the heavy lifting for you. And then you should see build success. Pat yourselves on the back. You've done great. So break down these commands for me. What is MVN? When you run MVN commands, you're asking Maven to perform tasks like creating a new project or building an existing one. The Maven archetype :generate command specifically tells Maven to create a new project from a template, which Maven calls an archetype. This command sets up a basic structure for your project so you don't have to start from scratch. Extra for the experts, some of the details you specify in the command are these. And then, like I said, we're going to watch out for that build success, and it's going to look like that. And then it is screenshot time. So we're going to take us a nice picture, show our progress.
Woohoo!
Okay, I'm going to save that. Okay, we're going to move back over to documentation, and we're going to upload it. And then I generated a Java web app using the command. And what command did we use? It's okay. I'll help you out. It was this command.
Hmm.
Hmm. Do we have a question in the chat? Meaning we can host any Java program using Maven by deploying to EC2. Essentially, I believe, right? I mean, because EC2 is just literally a virtual server. So essentially, yes, you could use Maven to generate a Java web application on your EC2 instance.
Yeah, so just adding on to that, you can create and build any Java app using Maven and then deploying it onto EC2 instance, just like Mitchell mentioned, it's like an EC2 instance is literally like a virtual server. So it's just like gonna bring like computing power behind like a Java web app that you want to build. I thought I wanted to clarify though. You mentioned like deploying to EC2. So the deployment process is slightly different. Like what we're doing right now is we're actually building the app. And Maven, for example, doesn't actually just doesn't handle the deployment process. The deployment process actually happens slightly later in this kind of project in this series. We're not doing any deployment right now. It's a slightly different thing. Like right now we're like creating the app, like we're kind of building it first. So yeah, just thought I'd call that out, just in case you were assuming that deployment is a part of this too.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next question. Can you see your Java web app? How do you think you could find and edit your Java web app files? The response to this won't be in your documentation. Great. Well, we would just be able to find it in our VS Code, or we could use we can list the files that's in this let's see. Okay, let's go into NextWork web projects, and we should be able to see hit the ls. Okay, source ls, but you get the picture. We can sift through all the files and folders. We can actually also open it up in VS Code through the I believe we could do that through the EC2 instance, but it'll download VS Code to the EC2 instance. But that's for a later time to talk about. So how do you think we could find and edit your Java web app files? We could we can CD into different directories to locate the files we want. To edit them, we can actually since this is since using Linux, we should be able to open up a nano editor and then do it that way, I believe.
Yeah, honestly, really good call. That's how I'd use it too. And if you'd like to do a little pivot, you can give that a go. in your terminal now. So the students can kind of learn from how you use Nano.
Okay. I just want to finish that sentence before I forget. Okay, so we'll just keep heading down the tree of, well, actually, we could and FYI, if you do cd ... it will go down the previous folder. So we're going to nano into pom.xml because why not? Okay, so this is what it looks like in Nano. Me personally, Nano's not bad. Nano's not bad. For like quick changes and stuff like that. Definitely wouldn't use it to programming or anything like that. I mean, some people would, but I wouldn't. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I'm not really gonna touch it right now since there's no reason to, but this is exactly you would just look at the commands down here as shows you how to read and write, cut, paste, and stuff like that. And definitely should give it a go in your spare time. So we're gonna hit I believe Control X to X out of that. Okay, so we're just gonna hit done. Okay, step 7, connect VS Code with our EC2 instance. Could have sworn I said that. We're gonna do that. That's weird. Read in my mind. Okay, so you might be thinking, have I really just set up a web app? Where is it? How can I actually see it? In this step, you connect VS Code to your EC2 instance so you can see and edit the web app you've just created. Install an extension in VS Code. Use the extension to set up connection between VS Code and your EC2 instance. Explore and edit your Java web apps files using VS Code. So now we're in VS Code. Well, technically, we're in our EC2 instance, but we want to open up our EC2 instances and EC2 instance in VS Code. And I know it's this representation right here is kind of hard to wrap your head around, but fear not. We're going to do it in a second. Wait, aren't I already connected to EC2 instance with SSH? Well, yes, connecting with SSH in VS Code's terminal lets you send text commands to your EC2 instance, but you don't get all the benefits of having an IDE like VS Code. When you connect the VS Code itself to your EC2 instance, you unlock VS Code's IDE features like file navigation and code editing directly on your EC2 instance. This will make it so much easier for you to edit and manage your web app for the rest of the DevOps series. Benefits. Okay, so what we're gonna do in this step, we are going to set up the EC2 instance within VS Code to be able to take advantage of VS Code features. Then VS Code so that we can see the project files. Also, to take advantage of the benefits features of VS Code. What, it doesn't look right like that. VS Code.
Nice.
Oh.
That's really good.
So we're gonna hit done, and then clicking on the extensions icon at the side of your VS Code window, which you're gonna look for an icon like this. In the search bar, type in remote SSH and click install. But for me, I kind of already have it. So it's gonna look like this: remote SSH. Okay. So once you have that installed, why are we installing remote SSH? The remote SSH extension in VS Code lets you connect directly via SSH to another computer securely over the internet. This lets you use VS Code to work on files and run programs on that server as if you were doing it on your own computer, which will come in handy when we edit the web app in your EC2 instance. Now, click on the double arrow icon at the bottom left of your VS Code window. This button is a shortcut to use remote SSH. Okay, so for me, it's going to be on the right-hand side. Or it should be on this side. Okay. Okay. Down, install it.
I think it's here on left hand side, left down.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. And it's right there. Oh. Okay. So you're right, it was on the left. Get confused. Okay. So select remote SSH, connect to hosts, add a new SSH host. What is a SSH host? An SSH host is the computer or server you're connecting to using SSH. It's the target location where you want to run commands or manage files. In this case, the SSH host is the EC2 instance we're creating. So, enter the SSH command you use to connect to your EC2 instance. Okay. So Let's go. Actually, I should still have that command somewhere. On Windows, if you push up, should be able to see the commands. But that's fine. We will do it out. We just have to build it again. Bear with me. Next word. Repair. All right, and then wanna get this. Okay. Copy. Okay. Let's go back. Let's put this down a little bit. Connect to host. Right. Yeah. Connect to host. Okay. Oh no, that's not actually, that's the incorrect one. Because I have duration file. Yeah. Okay. Host. Okay, so it's gonna open up this this SSH config file. And then what we're gonna do is change these settings because this is from previous settings that I had from other projects. And then for the identity file, we have to change where this actually is. Instead of here, it is in this directory. And then obviously we have to rename this NextWork key pair.pim. I think that's one word. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to save it. And then close. And open up again. Connect to host. And yes, this is my machine. Okay. Now let's do a little bit of setting up. It's asking me what operating system. I'm going to choose Linux because I'm a boss. You have selected Linux as your remote platform. This will be stored in the settings, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then if I hit this Explore button, it should show all the files. Do you think that it will show the files? Let's just show them all. Let's show them all. Let's do it. Now let's go into the setup again. Do I trust the authors of this files in this folder? Why not? I'm a trusting guy. Boom! Did it! Got it done.
Nice.
Okay. Well, yeah, just what I was doing just explains when you go to this config file, it asks you well, actually, this is if you haven't done it before, I believe that this will be blank, which for the host you would put in your IPv4 DNS and both places for the host and the host name. Identity file is where you're going to find your NextWork key pair, and for the user is going to be the EC2 user. So why did you install remote SSH? I installed SSH, which is an extension that lets you remote SSH into your EC2 instance. Well, that kind of answers that question. So let's rephrase it. Which is an extension for VS Code. I installed it to remote SSH into our EC2 instance because we're doing this together.
Iconic.
Okay, so configuration details required to set up a remote connection include it's going to include the host, the host name, identity file, Is that how you, yeah, identity file and then user. See, I almost didn't have to look at that. We hit done. Now you're ready to connect VS Code with your EC2 instance. Click on the double arrow button on the bottom left corner and select connect to host. Which once you update the config file, you will just choose your host, which is your EC2 instance. Select the EC2 instance and off we go to a new VS Code window, which is why we have two VS Codes open right now. The one where we connected through the first one, and then the other where we're looking at we're connecting to our EC2 instance, but we're looking inside of it. We're looking inside of it. Nice work. You've connected VS Code with your EC2 instance. Now let's open up those web app files from VS Code's left-hand navigation bar. Select Explorer icon, which I kind of already went ahead and did. Like when you open up the Explorer, it'll ask you what folders you want to open up. I just chose to open them all up. But it seems like we were supposed to just open up this NextWork web project folder, which kind of looks like this. But if you don't specify what folder you want to open up, you can just have them all open, which is why you see all of these opened up right here. So VS Code might show a pop-up action if you trust the authors. Just say yes. Check your VS Code Windows File Explorer again. And like I said, it should say this. You should have these files. What are all these files and subfolders? All the files and subfolders you see under NextWork Web Project are parts of a web app. You'll start working right away on the content you want to display on the web app, since Maven's taking care of basic structuring and setup. So this is the project tree that you're going to see once you collapse the project. Hopefully you see that. Let's get to know some of the web app folders and files. The source folder holds all the source code files that define how your web app looks and feels. Source is further divided into web and web app, which are the web app's files. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and JSP files and resources, which are the configuration files a web app must need connection settings to a database. Project XML is a Maven project object model file. It stores information and configuration details that Maven will use to build the project. We'll use pom.xml later in this project series. So it says, take a screenshot of the file explorer expanded. So if we go back to here, we are going to take screenshots. Okay. Let's save it. Okay, and then we're gonna upload it. Boom. That
Nice.
easy. So using VS Code's File Explorer, I could see. What could you see? What could anybody see? We're gonna see the files and folders. Simple. Nice and simple. Start your answer with two of the project folders created by Maven are source and web app. Which I mean, they basically believe, yeah, so source holds the source holds all the files that you would potentially need to change, I think. Well, okay, Matt, I call upon you to I was having trouble explaining that.
We do have a small explanation for both. If you scroll slightly further up, there's like a little bit of a definition there in that bullet point. And that's honestly all we need to
Okay,
know
yeah.
for this in this context.
Yeah, so it holds
Yeah, so
the source holds how your project looks and feels.
Mhm.
And web app is configuration files for the yeah, so the and web app are resources and configuration files for your app. Nice and simple. Done. Exploring done. So how could VS Code help you edit your application files? Let's find out. From your file explorer, click into index.jsp. So we'll just do that now. Index.jsp. Okay. What is index.jsp? What's the difference between HTML? Index.jsp is a file used in Java web apps. It's similar to an HTML file because it contains markup to display web pages. However, index.jsp can also include Java code, which lets it generate dynamic content. This means content can change depending on things like user input or data from a database. Social media apps are great examples of web apps because the content you see is always changing, updating, and personalized to you. HTML files are static and can't include Java code. That's why it's important to install Java in your EC2 instance so you can run your Java code in your web app. Okay, so welcome to the editor view of index.jsp. Now we're really using VS Code's IDE capabilities, editing code is much easier than in the terminal, which I said before when I showed Nano. It's going to be a lot easier to modify some files. So let's try modifying index.jsp by changing the placeholder code to the code snippet below. Don't forget to replace the following code with your name. So I'm going to copy the code. Go into where the index.jsp is. Just highlight everything. For Windows users is Control V. So now it's going to look like this. So now it like I said, it should look like that. Save the changes that you've made to index.jsp by selecting Command if you're on Mac, Control if you're on Windows, and S on your keyboard. So for me, I'm going to Control Save. So take a screenshot of your modified index.jsp. Okay. And then I believe before you do that, it told us to replace the where your name is at with your name. So we're just gonna do that before taking that screenshot because I like to follow directions. Okay, I'm gonna save that again, and then we're gonna take a screenshot because we just love screenshots. Okay, so screenshots, save,
Nice.
and then upload that. Okay, start your answer with index.jsp is index.jsp is the entry HTML file for it's the entry file acting as a HTML file for Java. I think I've written that right. It's the Java version for HTML.
Pretty
basically.
much. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. That looks good.
Okay, so I edited index.jsp by opening the file and copying and pasting code. Okay. Okay. So hit done. And then nice work. You've learned how to set up a web app on EC2 instance and connect it with VS Code, one of the most popular and practical IDEs out there. You'll be building on the foundation you've set up here over the rest of the DevOps series. More exciting learnings are ahead. Delete your resources, please. Should we go over the deletion of these resources, or?
Yeah, we definitely should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is delete your EC2 instance. So we're gonna go back to our management console. Select your EC2 instance, the instance state, and we're gonna terminate it. And then this pop-up screen will be here, and then you're just gonna hit terminate. And then I'll let you know is status saying that it's shutting down. It's initiated. It's gonna take a couple of minutes for that to happen. And then delete your key pair. Yeah. That definitely is what you need to do. I believe okay, so you're going to type in key pair, go to key pairs, and it's going to bring you here. Hit actions button, hit delete, and then you're going to have to type out the word delete, and then you hit delete, and then it's deleted. Wow.
Ooh.
That quick. Now, what about VS Code? VS Code is obviously free to install and use. So we recommend keeping it in your local computer, which I already had, and it's awesome. It's a great tool for future projects, and you'll need it again for the rest of the DevOps series, which I am very much looking forward to. So, what is VS Code and why is it useful? VS Code is an integrated development environment, or IDE, that lets us manage, and create projects. It is useful in software development, for making development easier. How do we use VS Code in today's project? We used VS Code to connect to our EC2 instance and inside of our EC2 instance to be we were able to see our files and folders, to be able to edit and update our files. Okay. So what is one thing you didn't expect in this project? That it was easy-ish. It was like 1 or 2 headaches because I'm a Windows user. So that's my fault. I'm sorry.
Easy-ish. Easy-ish is very true then.
That it truly was easy-ish. It was easy peasy. Although setting up SSH through VS Code was more challenging for Windows users. Okay. How much time does this project take? Like 2 hours and 50 minutes, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, time flies. Time really does fly.
Did it feel like almost 3 hours to you?
It felt like it was just an hour.
Perfect.
But then it's like dark outside right now, so I was just like, oh wow, this time went by really, really fast. This project took 2 hours and 50 minutes. What did you do? Why did you do this project today? Did the project reach your goals? I did this project because it was fun and terrifying. No, it was it was fun. This project meets my goals for the dev op series, DevOps series. Okay, done. Okay. And then you just kind of share your project, go through all these, and that's a wrap. This is just part 1 of the CI/CD pipeline series. And it just lays the foundation for the 6 more that's coming our way. And just to reiterate what we've where we're at, we're just in this blue line right here. We set up IAM user, we set up an EC2 instance, and we set up VS Code to connect to the EC2 instance. Exciting stuff. Okay, and then we also set up Maven in Java, and then we used Maven to generate a Java application from the Maven template that basically set up the basic structure for further development. And then it says that the next projects we're going to set up a GitHub repository to store your web apps code, which is going to be super cool because I've been actually wanting to do that. So because AWS no longer has code commit. Setting up with GitHub on before with AWS was kind of like a challenge. Got it done though, but it's gonna be interesting to see where I went wrong and what I'm gonna learn to make it easier. I cannot wait. Can't wait.
Cool.
It says GitHub isn't an AWS service, just like VS Code. It is such a popular tool that's well worth learning about, and the projects ahead are exciting. We'll see you at the next one.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Cool beans.
I tried, and it was definitely an experience.
Yeah, yeah. Before to round it off, would you like to give it a go with creating documentation at the very bottom?
Mission accomplished.
Oh, awesome. The cool docs are still on the way. That's all good. But my goodness, Mitchell, you did it. That's so
Yes,
cool. You did it, start to
yes,
finish.
it definitely was a little nervous at first. I felt like I did better in my explanations as I went along, because I know at first I just kept it kind of simple. Um, but it definitely takes some getting used to. Um, it's definitely different, like presenting and going through the project at the same time and explaining. And it's just like, it just takes some getting used to.
Yeah, yeah, I think you did so well. Knowing that this is your first ever time presenting a project, showing explanations, doing everything live as well. It definitely feels like a pressure cooker environment, when you're doing it. Um,
Yeah.
I think you've done such a good job, and I'm super, super impressed. You should be very, very proud of yourself.